So, welcome to a brief introduction to the horrible world of personal combat in Dungeons of Yendor, the Megagame. Hopefully you will have seen another video about combat and how units fight each other. This is about how individual characters, that is players, fight each other. We use a very simple system of stone, paper, scissors, surprisingly, and you are expected to use the normal conventions with your hand, so stone, paper, scissors, and it's up to the players really to work out how best to do that, what they think works, and adjudicate results by themselves. Frankly, if you can't organise this, I'd be very surprised. All personal combats take 5 rounds, and in any round a player can withdraw after the round and admit defeat. Admitting defeat, of course, might very well alter your standing in the wider role-playing part of the game. If you do admit defeat, you will have to withdraw. For this example, we will assume that both characters are going to fight it out. Each win causes a wound, each draw does nothing. Wounds are marked by wound stickers. In this example, I'm just going to place some counters down to indicate wounds so we can keep track of them, but you'll be given a sticker. Wear these stickers with pride. They're all part of the story, and clearly, if asked how did you get those wounds, you can always say you should have seen the other person. You can also use special item cards once in each combat, and we'll do that as an example here. So we're going to assume that each of their 2 protagonists, Chief Marach and Captain Bloodknock, have some special items. I've got 2 special items here. I won't reveal what they are yet, because they wouldn't necessarily have to reveal them. But everyone has some special items in this game, and some apply in melee. So, this doesn't apply to magic. There are different rules for magic. Anyway, no one's really interested in magic. And if there's any special weapons or weirdness going on, control will help you out. But in a standard stand-up fight, this is how it goes. So I've got some cards to represent people's decisions. So, the first round, 1, 2, 3, Marach chooses paper and Bloodknock chooses stone. Stone is covered by paper, which is a win for Marach. However, Bloodknock, that would be a wound. However, Bloodknock very quickly gets his card out and says, no, I have got a ritual great shield. It's a shield that can protect me from one of my wounds. So he negates that wound. He can only use this once. So having used it in this combat, he doesn't give it away or anything, but having used it in this combat, he can't then use it in another round. So, next round, what happens? Well, Chief Marach chooses scissors, Captain Bloodknock chooses scissors, a draw, no result. This is the second round. Sometimes I'll put a dice down to indicate which round it is, so this is now round 2. No hits scored. Round 3 coming right up, each side staring the other down to try to gain advantage. You know how these things can be terribly tense and exciting. Marach chooses paper, and once again, Bloodknock chooses stone. Marach's got his measures. This is round 3. So, paper covers stone. The captain looks at his special things. No, he hasn't got anything very good there. That inflicts. However, Chief Marach decides it's time to up the ante. He has some special items. He's got the Shadow Steel Foe of Invocation sword. So his special sword, now that he's scored a hit, not only does 1 damage, but does an additional hit. So Captain Bloodknock's now got 2 wounds. And remember that you can take 7 wounds, and on the 8th wound you fall over, and you may or may not die. So now we move on to round 4 of the 5 rounds. See what they choose this time. And this time Chief Marach chooses scissors and Captain Bloodknock, against all good sense, chooses stone again. This time scissors are blunted by stone, which means the captain looks like he's scored a hit on Chief Marax, except the chief whips out his shield. He's got the soldier's ironbark wall shield, and that allows him to ignore that hit. So now we move on to the 5th phase of stone, paper, scissors. And the chief chooses stone and the captain chooses paper. Wow, so the chief has been hit, and this is the last round. The captain says, "Ha ha, and I've got the fiery copper spellblade sword. So not only have I done one hit on you, but I've done an extra hit." So that is the end of that round. Both of them have taken 2 hits. And that's the end of the turn. So they only do that once in a turn. They can return to more personal combat next turn, or one or other of them could march off and do something else. They can have a conversation, but that's the end of the combat. In this case, the overall combat was a draw, and both sides have come away bloodied. And maybe it's time to go down the pub and boast about how they went toe to toe with the enemy.